Hello my friends, this is Indie Pride and welcome to the Medieval Kingdoms 1212 mod for Total War Attila. The Knights of the Teutonic Order have finally made it to the Holy Land after months of travel, led by the Grand Master of the Order himself. The theme of this mod you're going to notice very quickly is the absolutely gorgeous level of unit detail. Mod creators have done a really fantastic job in that department, but this Teutonic army is going to consist of a Grand Master's Guard, 2 Teutonic sergeants with two-handed axes, 3 sword brethren, 4 Prussian archers, 1 mercenary Polax, 4 Albruder, please forgive my German pronunciations, I do not speak German of course, and no Teutonic army is complete without a contingent of Ritterbruder, 3 of those on the field. Now opposing the crusading army are the Ayyubid dynasty, the Kurdish kingdom founded by Salahuddin after the Third Crusade. Up front we've got a line of Adath archers, pretty cool looking units up front right there, and behind them we've got 3 Mamluk Tabardariya. They're a two-handed axe unit for the Ayyubids. Pretty awesome looking. And let's get a good look at one of the captains of one of these units. So gorgeous. I mean, seriously, look at that unit, that level of unit detail. Absolutely insane. So beautiful to look at. Really awesome unit detail. But shifting over past the Tabardariya, we've got some more axe units, some lower tier axe units, and a bunch of Askari cavalry and the Askari nobles. And yeah, like I said, some more mid-tier two-handed axe units for the Ayyubids. Now I've had this mod for about 2 weeks and I've been dying to show you guys some footage from it, but we've had a bunch of technical difficulties, so actually getting gameplay has been pretty difficult. I had a really amazing 2v3 with Pixelated Apollo against Lionheart and Warrior of Sparta and Jackie Fish, and me and Apollo were playing as the French against those 3 guys. They were playing as the English, but the replay was corrupted and crashed my game, and unfortunately that's been one of the biggest issues with this mod. 7 of my 8 replays that I saved crashed me to desktop whenever I tried to load them. But last night, Warman suggested to Apollo a fix that worked for replays, and Oakley and I have gotten a bunch of really awesome replays that we're going to be rolling out over the next couple of weeks, so you guys get ready for those. There are some really cool matches there. But I just wanted to show you guys this custom battle first. Wanted to show off the units and explain the mechanics and differences between this mod and Total War Attila. Now the main difference between this and Attila should be pretty obvious to you. The game is set hundreds and hundreds of years later. There are obviously entirely new factions and units available. France, England, the Kievan Rus, a Byzantine faction, the Cuman Khanate, and a bunch of others have already made it into this particular build that I have right now. But apparently when the game goes gold, there will be around 50 factions, at least for campaign I think, but they might be in custom battle and multiplayer as well. I'm not sure about that. Some of the units that have gotten added are longbows are one really noteworthy one. They have massive range in this mod. I think around 250 or 300 range. It seems like they cover half of the map with their range. The shield block chance of infantry is often going to mitigate the damage they put out, but with flanking shots or in late game situations, the longbows can be really dangerous. Early handgunners and cannons have also been added to this mod. Handgunners are pretty inaccurate from max range, but if you turn off fire at will and fire a volley when enemy units get closer to you when they're charging, the handgunners can be pretty devastating from close range, and you'll see those in action in some of my replays with Oakley and the videos following this one. Polearm Infantry is really cool. I brought one in this battle. It has the highest weapon damage in the game, I believe at 43, and a significant amount of that damage is armor piercing damage. So they have really cool animations, and they're going to wreck a lot of infantry or cavalry in this mod. In fact, the Polearm Infantry often gets the most kills from the replays that I've played so far. The Billmen are also another kind of polearm unit. They've got 38 weapon damage, but they kind of fall into that same category, so you've got to be very wary of polearm units in this mod. Now, one of the most important mechanics you guys should definitely know about is how cavalry functions in this mod. It is Attila. Obviously in the base game, cavalry is pretty OP. Impact damage, health, and charge bonus are just way too high in Attila, we all know this, and that was thankfully rectified in Age of Charlemagne without completely nerfing cavalry into the ground. Now unfortunately, cavalry does have some problems in Medieval Kingdoms 1212, and I'll be suggesting to the mod team how to fix those issues as I see them. And I think the fixes will be pretty simple if they want to implement them. Of course, they don't have to. It is their mod. Now, I know some of you might say, this is the medieval age, heavy cavalry is supposed to be OP, and I do understand that argument from a historical perspective, even though, of course, historically, heavy knights weren't charging braced blocks of heavy infantry. But this is Total War game. It worked in Medieval 2. It's not real life. We can move past that little argument. But currently there is a huge, and I do mean massive, disparity between how long cavalry engagements take and how long it takes 2 infantry units to fight, or 1 cav and 1 infantry to fight. So the problem is basically melee attack and charge bonus have been reduced significantly for cavalry, but cavalry health hasn't changed at all. Shot cav in Attila has upwards of 200 charge, generally speaking, but in this mod it has around 30 to 50 charge bonus. But higher tier cav units still have 255 health in this mod. So what that means is pretty simple. Cavalry fights take absolutely forever to end because melee attack and charge have been nerfed, but health hasn't been nerfed at all. So even when you're taking what should be decisive cavalry engagements, you're not really getting rewarded there. So I'll give you a good example. Last night, Oakley and I were playing, and I surrounded one of his cav units. I got a great, fantastic full rear charge off onto one of his tie-down cav with my very strong cavalry general. He lost 0 men off the charge, and literally 4 minutes later, Oakley's unit had lost, I think, 10 men out of 60. But on the other hand, impact damage against infantry remains unchanged. Now remember that impact damage has 0 effect on cav engagements, it only hurts infantry. So a cavalry charge into sword infantry still kills 40 to 50 men and can basically rout an infantry unit on contact with a charge, just like it does in Attila. This is bad for a couple of reasons, but mostly it's bad because it means you're rewarded for taking bad cavalry engagements, or at least you're not punished for it. Even if you go 1v2 with a cav unit and get rear charge, your cavalry will still tank it out like a boss for upwards of 5 minutes sometimes. Which means if you have more cav than your opponent, or simply allow yourself to get 2v1, you'll have free cav to play it like Attila. You can go on a murderous rampage with your own cav against infantry units, charging them whenever you want. And there are ways to balance that out, of course. You can speed up a cav engagement by backing it up with spears or a halberd, or shooting the cav, and those are all options, of course. But just right now there's a huge disparity between cav fights and infantry fights, and it's pretty jarring, honestly. And my proposal is pretty simple. I think that cavalry health should be reduced to be in line with the nerfs to melee attack and charge bonus, and just make cavalry health in general closer to Age of Charlemagne values, and I think it'll be good. There's no precursors to worry about in this mod, really. No one has javelins except javelin units, so heavy cavalry is still going to be good even if their health is nerfed somewhat. Now, I understand this mod wasn't created for multiplayer purposes, of course, and it's definitely possible there's reasoning behind the decision to keep cav health the same and still nerfing the melee attack and charge bonuses, but I did want to address it at least so the mod creators heard about it. But as I'm sure you guys have seen in the gameplay, I mean, it looks gorgeous. The unit models are amazing to look at. Teutonic Knights look super cool, so do the Ayyubids. But those are my impressions on the battles, the 10 or so battles that I've played so far. Cavalry super strong versus infantry, but super slow at killing other cav. Poleaxe units are sick. Scots Guard and Longbow units have ridiculous range and can do quite a bit of damage. And the Hawkmeister, who we'll see in a second here, looks like an absolute boss. You can see him right there. I'm about to zoom in, get a good look at the Grand Master of the Teutonic Order. But I've really been enjoying this mod so far. I'll be bringing you a bunch of the 1v1s I played with Oakley, including an epic showdown between France and England. And I hope you guys enjoyed this little sneak peek preview discussion about medieval 1212 kingdoms. And that's about it from me. You can go to the stat screen, you can take a look at that. And I'll be bringing you a lot more content from this mod very soon. Peace out, guys.